Aftershow.
Welcome to the Essence House Aftershow. This week we're talking about Chapter 2 and Never Thought Upon. And today we have Eric Cockrell with us and Chuck Pino.
I'm sort of here.
The creators of Essence House. Oh, wait. Episode 2, Essence House. So let's talk a little bit about the episode.
I would love that.
Would you like that? Okay, let's do it.
I would like that a lot.
So in episode 2, we find a little bit more about Tim's personality. Tim catches up with his cousin Tristan, and we that's where we start off. Do you want to add? Or do you want me to keep?
Do you?
Yeah.
Or shall I?
Listened to this recently because I've been buried in episodes 3 and 4 the past few days, so I had to sit and listen to it to remember what had gone on. But yeah, Tim contacts his uncle, who tries to point him in the direction of Tristan. Then he gets a text message that sends him off to the coffee shop where he catches up with Tristan.
A mysterious.
He was pouring through some notes.
A mysterious text message.
Yes. And a mysterious coffee shop. Ooh. Is it a Starbucks?
I don't know. I was wondering, it is a mysterious coffee shop. I was wondering, is it a Starbucks or is it like just a local chain or local store?
See, these are the questions that nobody's asking.
Yeah,
anybody even paying attention?
And I learned that Tristan likes a very dark brew.
Yep.
Yes.
Which says something about his personality, I guess.
Is it black? Was it black coffee?
Yeah, it was really dark. It was really, he's like, oh, you like the strong stuff.
Mm-hmm. And we learned that Tim likes sugar. You drink black coffee?
Yeah.
I barely drink coffee, so I'd be the sweet guy. I'd need more. If I'm gonna drink anything, it's gonna be like the caramel macchiato and the lattes and crap. Yeah,
I love a latte.
Sugar.
I love a latte.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's delicious.
I'm too British. I'm a tea guy.
Yeah, I'm drinking tea right now. It's an Irish blend. I like a black tea. So my favorite part that comes up is like Tristan's like visibly like. Kind of like, and Tim even says that he goes conspiracy theory on him, and immediately I'm like, yes, he totally did. Like, so what can you? I mean, I know you can't tell us more about what the objects are and the pictures, or what can you tell us?
Okay, so I remember for those of you at home, we're very careful to not show Jess anything ahead of time. So before we do these shows, she has literally only heard episodes 1 and 2, even though we have 3 and 4 done, production, everything. So she hasn't heard them yet. But pretty much as soon as this is done, we all get together. She gets to listen to it, and we get to, and even my wife might listen, or Eric's girlfriend will listen. Like we then get to kind of hear early thoughts on what they think of the show. But we don't let anyone listen to it before this comes out, so that no one can ask an inappropriate question, or they don't have answers, or they don't ask questions to which they wouldn't have answers already, or they wouldn't even know about. So when I was sitting listening with Jess, and Jess was listening for the first time, they're in the coffee shop, and she goes, "Plane wreck?" Like,
yeah.
When there's the one picture of the plane wreck, and I was like, man, she jumped on that right away. Like, it's a throwaway line.
Is it?
It's supposed to be big. Well, no. So it gets dealt with. You will get to find out more about it. Not an awful lot, but more about it very soon. But yeah, it was just funny that you jumped on that one right away. You were like, plane wreck? And I'm like, oh, wow. She was on that right away.
I just want to know.
Maybe you'll find out tonight. Can't promise.
Oh, well, we won't know till after the show. Dang it. But I wanted to mention that, for people who are even just hopping on to the series, it's really quick and easy to digest. Like, I listen to it on my Alexa while I'm prepping dinner. Like it's like perfect. Sometimes,
Yeah,
well, actually, I lied.
we put a lot of effort into. We put a lot of effort into getting it onto as many platforms as we can, and particularly last week, we were able to get it so that you can just ask Google or Alexa to play Essence House, and it'll play the. I think it always plays the latest episode.
Yeah, it does. It
But
does.
yeah.
And then if it finishes, then it goes back to the first episode, which is nice. But I was going to say, yeah, they're nice and easy to digest. But then once you get to the end, which you'll find out as we get to that part, I mean, you've already heard it, but then you'll be like, oh, they're a little too short. Cliffhangers.
Too short.
A little too short. So next what happens is like Tim's like, what the F is going on here? And then so what can you tell us about that when he's like, it all started 100 years ago?
That's probably my favorite part, and I loved when you listened to that and you were like 100 years, and I'm like, yeah.
What the fuck? I was gonna say, where is this going? I was like 100 years ago, a plane crash. It was just a man in the last episode, just a man dealing with some weird stuff, but just going through his day. And then this episode, it's like, oh, I'm sensing the tone now. But I don't know what's going on.
Well, and that was what we were kind of excited about, is that by episode 2, you get a much better idea of kind of what's going on, especially the end. Sort of by the end of that episode, you have a much better idea of what's going on and kind of where this might lead. And then Eric and I had kind of talked about it. By the end of episode 3, it's like, cool. Now we can kind of openly talk about what the series is about, what's going on, and advertise it a little easier, because we really wanted people to come in with as little information as possible, but you can only hold back for so long, and hold back your marketing as well.
It's true, because it's hard to.
That's a really tough thing.
Yeah.
We haven't been able to really talk about any of the meat and potatoes of the story because it's all been kind of a mystery, and we didn't want people to know off the bat what it was about, even though that's one of the things you have to be able to talk about to tell a story. So we've decided that we can relax that with the 3rd episode and just start selling it for what it is.
It was great because we had that conversation at one point. We're like, how do you pitch a story you're not allowed to talk about? It's like, that sucks. That's tough.
Because I mean, the image we have is like of the Essence House, right? And I'm like, what the hell with the house? What the hell with it? I want to know, and I still don't know.
Well, no, but that's the nice thing is that, like, at the first episode, you're like, the house is torn down. It doesn't even matter. And then by the end of the second house, you're like, okay, so the house is still around somehow. I don't know. So that gives you something at least.
I'm sure. So I was able to watch the episode with Chuck, or listen to the episode with Chuck last time we recorded, and both I and Wendy had a very similar reaction, and I'm sure Eric's girlfriend did as well. Of darn you. So, do you want to do one of you want to tell us, like, basically, because we haven't talked about like how they go through and what's kind of happening when he goes through. Can you guys shed some light on that?
Yeah, so Tim goes to the house with Tristan, or he goes into the shed, comes up through some staircases, and ends up inside a house. and they walk outside, and we have the big reveal at the end is the words Essence House on a sign at the top of the gate, which lets you know, hey, Essence House is here after all. But how or why, you have no clue yet.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of fun. But you will in episode 3. So it's another case where we don't just dangle it for a while. We pay it off.
No, and I appreciate that.
That was something that, we had said early on, even in the last broadcast, where we said, yes, we gave you a lot of questions, but you will get answers. And so, like, right away, one of the biggest things was, what the hell's with the shed? What's with the shed? And so you got the shed in this episode. Cool. Now no one really cares about the shed. They know what that is. And now it's like, there's a couple more questions. And so 3 really answers and moves forward a lot of those questions. And so, then we start to kind of get our status quo, whatever that is, for these people in this world and whatnot. And so you're really going to get to kind of feel that out. So we didn't want to dangle you too long. There will be some overarching stuff that is there for a while, but we wanted the big stuff kind of out of the way so you could really get to the meat and potatoes and really enjoy it rather than dangle you.
Yeah, I'm ready for the meat and potatoes, really.
Well, you had your veggies already, so I think you're almost ready.
I think it's fun that we have the like each episode kind of introduces new characters too, and kind of we aren't throwing a lot of characters at you. It's kind of a slow build. But the first episode, really, there's only Tim that's like a main character, and then everybody else is like small supporting, like just people that Tim talks to in scenes. But when you get to episode 2, then it's Tim and Tristan, and it's largely that through episode 3. But like I think it just grows a little bit more and more. And even in episode 3, we will get back to Uncle Rick. So there's
good old Uncle Rick
gets built on.
What did you think of when we finally met Tristan? What did you think of him, Jess, as far as getting to know him and all that kind of stuff? Were you surprised the kind of person he was, or did that kind of add up to what you thought? Or
yeah, at first I was kind of like, okay, what's going on with Tristan? So my initial like impression of him is he running away from something? You know what I mean? What is he trying to do here? So I wasn't too sure. I just figured maybe he was just maybe he was on the street, but I was like, no, they wouldn't do that. So I had to believe that you, of course, didn't make, he's just, maybe a kid on, low with money, and he's like trying to get money from his dad or whatever. But the encounter in the coffee shop is really interesting because all of a sudden I'm like, oh, he's up to something. There's some sort of conspiracy here. I want to know more. So I'm very intrigued. So then I like that, we see Tim's personality with Tristan too. Like, Tim's not just like grumbling along his day,
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Tim has more of a, and I think, we mentioned it. In that episode, we mentioned that, or Tim mentions that the longer he's there, the more he's feeling like a connection to the family and things that he never had, like already.
He's warming up. His heart is growing like the Grinch. No, and you can see like he's starting to like, he's like talking to his cousin. He wants to get to know his cousin. And now he and his cousin are going on this adventure that seems fun that I want to know more about. So I want to talk a little bit about some comments and questions.
Yep.
Would that be all right? Yeah.
Love that.
So Wendy asks, she says, his niece is named after Rebecca. Oh, wait, his niece is named after Rebecca. and is named after our daughter and Sean Barber. But what about Elise? Who is Elise named after?
I think we just made that one up.
Is that like Barnabas?
You don't have a family member? I thought you had like a
I don't
sibling
remember.
named Elise.
Well, he doesn't have a sibling because he's like, I don't remember.
Yeah, it's not one of them.
Did you say you had a
dang.
niece?
No, I don't.
He's like, I have a niece.
I don't know an Elise. I think the name just felt like it fit. I don't know.
I name dropped a lot in episode 2. Like I was like, I don't want to create any new names. I'm just gonna give love to people. So Elise was already out there, but I threw in Sean, who is my partner and a good buddy to Eric and I. I of course threw my kid in there. I thought she's my baby. I'm gonna throw that in there. And then the hotel, the guy who runs the hotel, his name is Greg Warren, and an artist that both Eric and I have worked with. He's worked on series for both of us. His name's Greg Warrencheck, and we love that dude. He's a consummate professional, and I wanted to give him a shout out since we both had worked with him extensively.
That's cool. I like that.
I remember reading the Greg Warren one in particular and sending a message being like, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Well, Greg has done my book, Belial, and then he's done the book, Eric's book, Dulce. And so I really felt like we had to include him because we both have such a connection to that dude. And he's just so talented and such a great guy. I really like him a lot. So wanted to send him some love in case he ever listens.
If you're listening, Greg. Or watching. Well, watching or listening. Watching this, but listening to the show.
Yes.
So Wendy also asks, I wonder how Tristan knew about the entrance, but had no idea where it was. He seems to have been caught by Tim while investigating with information he had, and even though he didn't know what they'd find once they went through whatever entrance they would find, he knew it would lead them to the Essence House. Does Tristan know that the manor is stuck in the past, or is it that time stands still there?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I think Tristan definitely came there with some information. I think we know that. We haven't really got into how he might have obtained that information, and we won't hear. But yeah, Tristan definitely knows some things.
Okay, so next question is from Wendy. It says, it seems the house is stuck in the 20s or 30s, and whatever that caused it to be frozen in time has somehow leaked slightly into the present, the shopkeepers, popular terms, etc. I want to call that the debutante theory.
Yeah, that's an interesting theory. Obviously, that's not really something that we can comment on, but it's an interesting theory.
I can't say that I think next week's episode. Well, if you're a patron, next week's episode. If you're not a patron, you got a couple more weeks. But next week's episode, I think, gives a little clearer answer on that already. A little bit.
Fine.
Oh, you have to wait like an hour. Chill out.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Okay, moving on. Let's go. Does the strip mall? Okay. This is also from Wendy. We're going through some Wendy questions. Does the strip mall somehow hold some magic that is hiding the Essence House of the past? Or is it something about the property? Or something? Or that something caused a rift in time? Rift in time.
I mean, that's the big thing right there. That's the big question. So yeah, I can honestly say I have a good idea of when you're going to find that out, and you got a little bit ways to go. I would focus more on the here and now and what you're dealing with, because that's a big one that's going to dangle for a bit.
Okay.
Baby steps.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. The next question talks a little bit about the birthday being January 1st. So Wendy says, I'm sure whatever's hiding the Essence house has something to do with why all the Edmonds share a birthday. Ooh. But how far back does that go? Tim didn't wish Uncle Rick a happy birthday. Did it start with Tim and Tristan's generation? If so, are they connected with this magic?
I think again, episode 3 actually I think answers that question. I think that one gives us some clarification on Rick's birthday.
Yeah, it also I would say that that's another one that the answer will come out slowly, but also remember that Tim didn't really care too much for Rick. So
yeah.
would he even, if it was his birthday, would he give a crap? Like, would he even wish him happy birthday? So that's something to consider is it his birthday and Tim just didn't give a crap? Or is it not his birthday and there's something else going on? Those are kind of the two big ones, the two big possibilities, I would say.
I'd like to know what is up with the birthdays.
I gave you options.
I know. I'd still like to freaking know. Darn it. Dang it. So the next set of questions we have are from Suzanne. No real theories yet, but boy, did it leave me with a lot of questions. Like, have they gone back in time or forward? Or is it some kind of parallel alternative universe? I like where Suzanne is going here, Eric.
She's a smart one.
Yeah, those are really neat questions. And you know what? That's the baby steps we're talking about. You'll have a very good idea of that next episode.
Dang it, I'm gonna ask these questions again next week.
It's so funny because it was the same as the last time we did this. You're like, what about this? What about that? And you're like, next episode. And I feel like a lot of the questions you ask is like next episode, or don't even ask that one. You got some time.
Dang it, I feel like maybe when we're 5 episodes in, maybe we can go back to some of these questions from these first few episodes and pull some of these back because they're gonna. Yeah, I think we should do that. That's a good idea. Okay. Okay, you ready?
I think it's cool though too because we are hearing these questions and we are answering them. So I think we're hitting the right beats. I think in that way.
Yeah. I didn't think of it like that, but yeah.
Another question from Suzanne says, how did the time traveling portal come to be in the first place? You're not going to freaking answer that. You guys aren't going to answer that. You're going to give the same answer. I could answer. Do you want me to answer?
Who said there's a time travel portal?
I don't remember seeing a portal.
Oh.
She's talking about when you went down through the cellar.
Oh, okay.
She's
yeah, but who said it was time travel?
Yeah, who said? Yeah, exactly.
From Suzanne, I'm wondering if you guys are going to freaking answer any of my questions. Okay, why does Uncle Rick seem so intent on keeping it a secret? Yeah, what's that about? Why is so Uncle Rick is pretty sure of the existence of it because he's been protecting the shack this whole time. So what the hell, Uncle Rick? What's going on?
Yeah, and remember Rick's the one that had the house torn down.
Yeah,
that was mentioned in the first episode. So
I think it's fair to say and fair for anyone to assume that if anyone has the abundance of information, it's Rick.
Yeah,
So I think that's a fair assumption, but how much is that? What does he know? How much is he actually holding back? All that kind of stuff.
I'd like to know. I hope Uncle Rick comes back soon because I'd like to know more.
You get to hear a little bit about him next episode.
I want to know
not enough.
Next episode? Okay. I do have a question though. I remember when Tim's talking to Tristan and Tristan kind of alludes that alludes to the fact that Tim's sister knows something about this.
He does.
He did say that.
Okay. There's no. Okay, so we have a comment. Is there a comment? No, is that it?
I think basically at this point, the answer is either next episode or no immediate answer.
Or straight face. So,
and that one would be no immediate answer.
Okay, I'm going to give you a comment, and let's see if it's straight face or immediate answer. So Suzanne says, I can't help but feel that there's something sinister afoot, but that it might be more a reflection of me. Ooh, and my usual reading material. LOL. In any case, I'm excited to see how the various elements set out in these first chapters unfold. Oh, yeah. These first chapters. Yeah. So, is there something sinister? Can you comment on this?
I'm trying to gather my thoughts.
Okay. I'm just wondering if it's something you can comment on.
Not like, obviously not only briefly, I guess it would be the statement. But I would say that sinister, I'm not sure how far I want to go into that, but I will say that you can only hold off on these mysteries for so long before there has to be something else that's going to continue to move the story forward. So I'm not specifically going to say sinister, but the mystery of the house is only one part of it all. There's got to be more to it, or else it just wouldn't be enough. And this is me even just talking as a fan of story. You can't just have the house be everything. So there's definitely more to it, and that's about as far as I could go.
I'll accept it.
Yep.
It was more than a straight face.
That's true. That was a true answer. Thank you, Chuck. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, so now we're going to talk a little bit about what you guys have planned for upcoming episodes, and you guys even have it planned out a little far. You want to talk about that?
Go ahead, bud.
We can't talk about anything. I'm just kidding.
Welcome to the Essence House after show, where it's like, no comment.
The whole thing should just be redacted. We'll just call this redacted.
And then just like, if you say anything, even if you know. Sorry.
So we have a couple episodes produced beyond what we're at right now, fully. We have a couple more in the process of being written, which brings us like around episode 6 now. And then we've got season 1 plotted to the end now, and season 2 pretty loosely, but pretty far along in plotting.
Yeah, but a lot stronger than it was.
Is that all accurate, Chuck?
Yeah, I would say that we got together, I think last Sunday, and we did a bunch of work because I remember. So I mean, obviously, Eric and I come from a comic background, and one of the cool things that I remember, I believe it was Tom Brevoort, who would talk about like the big events that they had, like Civil War and all that kind of stuff. And so someone would pitch an event, and he'd say, okay, cool. And they'd tell you the whole story about the event. And he'd say, good. So what does the world look like when that's done? And it's like, what? Oh, no, all I'm doing is telling the story. And it's like, no, that story only matters if we stop publishing after that. But we need to know how that affects the world after that, what things come after. And so that was a question that we had to ask ourselves is after the big drop that we have at the end of season 1, what does season 2 look like? And so that's something that Eric and I really delved into and really got excited by. And I have to say that even going into season 2 a lot stronger, helped us bring out some more cool aspects to season 1 and really bring that out, because as an editor and as a writer, the more you know about the future, the more you can play with in the past.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that we have 10 episodes. Like, we set out to tell a 10 episode season, and there's not any filler. Like, it all matters, which is exciting.
Yeah, though I appreciate, sometimes those like one throwaway episodes are fun. I like that this stays on track, because you know what? I don't want a throwaway episode. Not a throwaway, but just a one little episode where he's like sidetracked, where Tim goes shopping for something.
Actually, we do have a little bit of a shopping montage thing that happens in episode 3.
How did? That is funny.
But anything that we have like that will ultimately matter too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's what I like too. Is you guys, you guys have planned it in such a way as it seems that everything you're doing is purposeful. Like, there's a reason for it. It's going to pay off later. You're going to know why later. And I think that's a big attraction to the story.
I think for Eric and I, the thing about us is that as much as we love to joke around and stuff, when it comes to story, we're kind of no nonsense. Like, let's really like create something cool, and we don't want to kind of screw around too much. So even if something doesn't maybe directly affect the story, it affects the characters, which affects the story. So I think almost no matter what, like if anybody could pick out any moment, we could at some point down the line be able to say, well, that's why this is important. That's why that's important. It all kind of matters. So you literally have 20 minutes of, okay, this matters. Why does this stuff matter?
I want to know. So I guess I wanted to mention too, like, because you guys are writing this. So you guys are writing this together. So how are you dividing the work? Is it you both write the same episode? You guys share a little bit about that?
It depends. I mean, it's kind of funny, right, Eric? Like, we'll sometimes he'll start an episode and I'll finish it. I haven't actually. I think the only episode. Actually, I don't even think I've started an episode. Like, I haven't come in with a blank slate. I think episode 5 is the first one where I'll come in with a blank sheet. But like, he did a good chunk of episode 1, and then I came in and I kind of fleshed it out and added it. And then episodes 2 and 3, again, he had kind of the beginnings of, and I came in and I was like, all right, cool. And I got to play with it. And then he would come back and add whatever he thought worked. 4 was one where Eric worked on that one pretty much by himself. Like, 4 was one he had in his head and was very excited about the entire time. And I was like, okay, yeah, cool. Go to town. And he went into that. Yeah. And so we hadn't yet worked on what we were going to do, who was going to work on 5, 6, etc. And so when we had our chat, we're talking, and I popped out this, I'm not even 100% sure what the idea was at the time, but something I was really excited about for episode 5. And Eric said, well, cool, I guess you're writing that one. I was like, oh, dang. Okay, yeah, I guess so. So we're never 100% sure. We're both chill dudes, and we just kind of feel it out. And if at some point it's like, hey, man, I think I got all of it out of this, I'm going to, what do you want to do with it? The other guy will grab it and run with it. So I think it's been really cool so far. I really enjoy playing like that.
Nice.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing about episode 5 was that I had written episode 4 from start to finish. You came in and cleaned up some things, and we actually included our buddy Gene Hoyle, who I write Dulce with. He came in and did some help on that episode because he's from New York, which is where the whole story takes place so far. But there was some things we wanted to make sure were kind of clear there regarding that. So we brought Gene in. And then when Chuck presented some ideas to tie into episode 6, we actually episode 5 or 4 actually ends. Yeah, episode 5 is what I was talking about. Episode 4 actually ends at a cliffhanger that tells like half of that story, and Chuck's kind of telling the other half of that part of the story.
Yeah.
So like it's easy for us to hand off things like that to each other.
No, that's awesome. It's like it sounds like a fun project to work on. You guys get to like bounce the story back and forth and kind of like work on it together and mold this world and this whole thing. It just sounds like a lot of fun, and it's a lot of fun to listen to.
Good.
Thank you so much for joining us on the Essence House After Show. Eric, Chuck, can you tell us when we can catch the next episode?
Go ahead, Eric.
Oh,
Take
that's
it away.
something we can answer. So patrons will have access to the next episode on Wednesday the 29th. And non-patrons will get it a couple weeks later.
Nice.
So
2 weeks after that.
it's yeah. So like we said before, we want to make it accessible. So we have
The
it
12th of February.
available to people that aren't patrons. But what's that?
Sorry, the 12th of February is when the episode 3 will be open for everybody.
Oh, nice. I was gonna say, oh yeah, can you tell everybody the website and they can find you on all basically podcast aggregates. What do they call those?
Platforms.
Platforms.
Yeah, any platform of podcasts in general have the episodes at this point. And if you find one that doesn't, please let us know. We'll get on there. But yeah, you can hop on essencehousestory.com. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, pretty much everywhere at this point.
And can you tell us a little bit too about the Patreon? Patreon?
The Patreon?
Patreon.
Patron. I love Patron.
Yeah. So what about the Patron? No, so can you tell us a little bit about the Patreon?
Well, the Patreon, Eric worked really hard on that. And actually, it's really cheap. For $2 a month, you get all of the episodes 2 weeks earlier, and you also get access to these after show episodes, which you normally, people after this month will not have access to them at all. So we might send out some little clips here and there to tease people and get them excited. But overall, these videos here that we're doing with you, Jess, they're just going to be for Patreon users. So that's another reason to jump on and throw your $2 in.
Exclusives.
Yep.
So.
And sometimes people want to support. Some people, might share or whatever. That's support too.
Yeah.
So we appreciate any support, and that's why we aren't blocking people that aren't able to support monetarily from watching the show. Just the advantage that you have is that you get it earlier.
Yeah, if you get addicted like me, then you're like, yes, give me more Essence House, please.
And there will be bonuses, thrown out too. We have plans for some extra, even story elements and stuff that would come through being a patron, and so it is
something else we can't talk too much about.
Awesome. So thanks guys so much for sharing so many details about this mysterious story.
That's what we do.
Exactly. So thank you guys so much, and catch us next time on the Essence House After Show.
Thanks, y'all.
See ya.